President Cyril Ramaphosa has welcomed the sentencing in Tsegofatso Pule's murder case. Ramaphosa has described the life sentence handed down to Nthuthuko Shoba for the premeditated murder of Tsegofatso Pule and her unborn child as befitting, appropriate and justice for the two innocent lives he took so cruelly. Shoba was found guilty of masterminding the death of his pregnant girlfriend Tsegofatso Pule in 2020. He was implicated after convicted hitman Mzikayise Malepane turned state witness. Now, the sentence was welcomed with loud cheers, screams and tears from the family and the public gallery, who have been left devastated by the loss of Pule. Now, to get reaction, we are now joined via Zoom by Advocate Nthabiseng Sepanya-Mogale from the Commission for Gender Equality. Thank you so much for your time, Advocate. Firstly, Commissioner, let us get your reaction to Nthuthuko Shoba's life sentence this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having us. We, as the Commission for Gender Equality, welcome the sentence. We actually feel like everyone else, it is fair and it is befitting to the crime that had been committed. And as you rightfully said, it was two lives that had been taken. And also the additional of the man who actually gave the blow. In the sense that he is out there in jail, he is a murderer, and that is a label that is going to carry on his back his whole life as a result of this plan that was hatched by Shoba.
I mean, whilst we are celebrating the sentencing, you know, because, I mean, a lot of us, and as one activist said outside that particular court case, that we've come full circle as a country. You know, we were there when this incident was first reported. We saw the first arrest. And, of course, now this particular sentencing, which is justice for Tsegofatso Pule. But while we celebrate that, we're now hearing of another devastating crime that just happened in Krugersdorp, where 8 women were gang raped by several men at a mine dump in Krugersdorp. And of course, that briefing by Minister Cele just paints a picture that women in this country, again, are not safe.
Absolutely not safe at all. In fact, it's not only women. Generally, South Africans are under siege. We are on tenterhooks. We are not enjoying life. It is so unfair what is happening to women, children, and everyone else in South Africa. You know, as you know, the 8 people who were killed in Alexandra recently. So it's just everybody being under siege, and we do not understand why. But having said that, we also need to commend the efforts that are being done by the police. We should not take those lightly. I think they're operating under very difficult circumstances, but making headway. You know, what happened in Krugersdorp happened last night. Today, 3 people have already been arrested. But as you said, we have come full circle with Tsegofatso Pule's matter, where it was shocking, a body found, and, you know, a horrific scene, but it has now resulted in justice being done.
Now, when you look at, and I hear what you're saying in terms of police efforts and so forth, but I mean, if you were listening to that press briefing, a lot of concerns coming out from the floor to say some of these matters are known to police. You know, we also, I mean, we had you in the channel not too long ago when the biannual South African Police Service, you know, statistics were released. And that report in itself also revealed that gender-based violence and femicide has increased in every province in this country. You know, so clearly something is wrong. And because if you also see with this latest incident, just how brazen some of these criminals are becoming, you know, as if they know that there will not be consequences.
Yes, I actually think we're looking at it a bit slightly incorrectly. We should not look at the behavior as though it is acceptable but for the consequences, or it is acceptable, we'll wait for consequences. It is unacceptable, and we need to go back and say, why is there so much gender-based violence? What kind of human beings are being raised in these communities? Do we still have communities? What kind of fabric has been sewn in these communities that we live in or that we know of? What kind of people are we raising or come out of these communities? Even before we get to the stage of police, there's the issue of substance abuse. It is linked to violence against women. There is the issue of a breakdown of systems. For example, your electricity, that is why the Alex crime was happening. It is related to violence against women and general wanton crime. So there are a whole lot of issues. There's the issue of drugs. By substance I meant alcohol, but now even the prevalence and availability of drugs and drug peddling that is going above board. And I guess you're right that the police do know about these things and should be acting, but communities too do know. As it has always been rightfully said, these are members of communities and members of families. How come we do not say we are in danger? Even in my own home, this is what is happening, and raise alarm with the police, So there's something there where we are looking at it incorrectly, because we apportion blame rather than put it into a pie and make it into slices, but of one whole, complete, comprehensive approach to this problem.
In fact, President Cyril Ramaphosa, addressing the National Policy Conference this afternoon, saying that, that a society-wide effort is needed to fight gender-based violence. But where do we begin, Advocate? I mean, we've seen so many incidences of this nature, particularly at communities, areas where, a lot of the people say, we didn't know. Or there was not enough effort that was done by the South African Police Service. And then you also have the departments that are meant to take care and raise awareness. So where do we actually start as a country, so that it doesn't seem that we are fragmented? Because at this moment, it seems that we are, which is why we are seeing these crimes happen on a daily basis.
Unfortunately, or, it begins at home. In the sense that the modeling that we give, the acceptance of violence that is presented in the privacy of homes, and the expectation that when it is meted against certain people, the victims should understand where it's coming from and take it sometimes even as love when it is not. That's the second thing. But that's the first thing. But secondly, even the people, the children and other people witnessing it in those homes are actually encouraged to keep it as a secret, as a private matter that should not be taken out. And that's another one. But when you look at all the other areas, there is a pushing away of the issue to the next person. The school has got to start talking about violence against children, women, and encouraging people to come forward. Bullying should not be looked at as, it's just boys will always be boys, or yes, there's always a bully at a school, but rather to be looked at as what it is. It is a form of violence. It may be even indicating a broken life of the bully, but it is going to break the person who is being bullied. In church, we need to start having churches that speak about the correct things. Let's have churches now say it is wrong to do this. Not only we will pray for you, but hey, lay charges, ask for help, seek help, do this, give tangible, proper advice. And also encourage those who are experiencing violence, go and seek help and do something about this. Perpetrators, you need even psychological help. But also even other areas of our sector, the workplace. Every employer and colleague out there has got to be concerned about a colleague who comes to work with a black eye. Every human resource department has got to be worried about the patterns of absenteeism of certain people in their, be it alcohol abuse, be it their nursing bruises at home, or be it the situation is such that they had to sleep outside and only came. So that there's got to be everybody worrying that this cannot be normal. What can I do in the small way that I can do it?
Advocate.
And then by the time it gets to the police.
I'm afraid that's where we have to leave it for now. But thank you so much for your time, Advocate Nthabiseng Sepanya-Mogale from the Commission for Gender Equality. Thank you so much for that.